Well, taking the Anime North recap footage and the day one footage and combining them into one video presents a video that is too damn long. Even after taking the footage that I filmed the day before the first day of the con and making it its own video, it's still too damn long. And yet, I originally wanted to include all three of those together in one video. Needless to say, my original vision for the Anime North 2023 Day 1 video is long gone. So what you're going to see in this video is the recap session, where I explain what I did at the con. And then next, you'll finally get to see the stuff I filmed on day one. But before we get to that recap session, I wanted to make a callback to something that happened in the before Anime North 2023 Day 1 video. So there was a scene where I put Zillion inside my Sega Master System. And above my Master System, you can see my GameCube and my Game Boy player. And there's a Game Boy Color game inside the Game Boy player. But what Game Boy Color game was inside the Game Boy player? This. Looney Tunes Carrot Crazy. Anyways, moving on. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed all that nonsense I filmed the day before the con, because now it's actually time to talk about the con and what happened. Where do I begin? Well, for one thing, if you're watching this video, you know, if you made it this far or plan on watching the rest of it, or even the vast majority of it, I think you know what to expect. You know, you've probably seen multiple convention videos before in the past. You know, I'm gonna basically be here, talk about my experience and various other things that happened at the con, blah blah blah. You know, and it's just another example of somebody throwing their hat in the ring and trying to make one of these things. You know, you've probably seen various convention videos where, you know, someone's in their room and in the background you see, you know, their shelves with, you know, filled up with manga, maybe a lot of anime VHS DVDs, VHSs, DVDs, Blu-rays, maybe even Laserdiscs. You know, maybe there's like a really suspicious-looking Asuka Langley Soryu statue, you know, right beside them. You know, just some food for thought. But, you know, here I am trying to, you know, recapture the same sort of idea that I had going, the same sort of camera angle I had when I recorded the Anime North 2018 and 2019 videos, the recap parts. A little bit harder too, because now we got this big boy here, this new shelf, so as a result I can't rest my arm as easily. So, you know, we'll change it up a bit camera angle wise. Not just for that reason, but just for the hell of it. And in case you're wondering what N64 game has the N label here that you keep seeing, it's Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. I could go on a lot about, you know, various, you know, YouTube memories and various topics about convention videos, and, you know, I'll revisit that here and there as this video goes on, but, well, let's talk about what actually happened at the con. So what did happen? Well, on Friday, I got there around 3 o'clock, as, you know, it typically is, because the dealer's room doesn't open till 5. I know there's other distractions you can do before you get there, and, you know, as a result, maybe I'll show up around 1:30ish or whatever next year or something. I don't know. But basically what happened is, you know, I got there, just looked around, took in the atmosphere, and then I tried to see what was up with my friend Jimmy, because in 2019 it was just a random surprise that I just so happened to see him there. It wasn't for very long, and as history repeats itself, I didn't get to see him very long either. But I got there around 3 o'clock. Then I texted him around 4. I'm saying like, hey, are you on your way to the con? Are you going? You here? Whatever, all that stuff. And a few more texts later, some random waiting, another phone call. I managed to meet up with him, so that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, it wasn't for very long, and to jump ahead here, why did I repeat that? But basically, then again on Sunday, I did try to get a hold of him, and ultimately I couldn't, because he said he was busy, and I said, all right, that's fine, whatever. He did call me on the phone again briefly, and I basically just said, yeah, I'm gonna just chill at the Sheraton Hotel, play some video games, and then I'm a bounce. And that was the end of that. But hey, it was good to see him again. The friend he was with, I didn't encounter the friend he was with that I did in 2019 again, because I think he said she was actually there at the con, just not with him at the time. So, yeah. But I also met up with another friend of mine. His name's Brian. He hasn't ever actually appeared in a video yet here. So this is the first time he's ever appeared on a video. And if you're watching this, Brian, there you go. You did ask me what my YouTube channel name was, and I told you. I told you it was Disney Music Vivo. And then I actually told you what it really was. So if you're watching this, goddamn, because, who knows how long this video is going to be. But yeah, I met up with him, some more text saying, hey, what's up, blah, blah, blah. He was a little more indecisive about going to the con. Beforehand, I basically messaged him saying, hey, you going to the con, you want to meet up? And then the day of, I got confirmation, met up with him nearby the good old ATM. He was with a friend of his named Chris, who I met for, like 25 minutes. He's in this video. You will see him, but yeah, that wasn't very long. But those were the main highlights of Friday. Now, Brian was somebody who I talked to a pretty good amount in high school, but ever since graduating, really I only kept in contact with him through, text messages and Facebook messages. In fact, the last time I saw him in person prior to day one of the convention was in June 2017. At the time, he was working at Walmart, and basically we were in talks of him getting a Nintendo Switch for me. Of course, I would, pay him for that, but the idea was, of course, that, hey, he worked in retail, so he obviously had a bit more of an advantage when it came to, being able to get a Switch. And, yeah, this is the Nintendo Switch here again. The box, at least. At the time, I didn't think I was actually going to have a choice between either the one with the gray Joy-Cons or the red and blue Joy-Cons. But, he asked me, which one do you want? And I said, yeah, the gray Joy-Cons, so that worked out pretty well. The Switch might have been a tad bit easier to find by June of 2017, but, hey, I wasn't really going out on a witch hunt for it, because I was just like, we'll just see where it goes. We'll see what Brian has to say, what he can do for me. So, yeah, that was cool. But yeah, met up with him. He didn't buy any games, despite me kind of trying to, motivate him, saying, hey, come on, man, buy a game, buy something. But, I guess it was just to look around and, just for shits and giggles. And you'll see this in the footage, too, but he actually had with him, and still does, sealed copies of Zelda the Wand of Gamelon and Link the Faces of Evil on the CDI. How did he get them? He found them at a fucking Value Village for like, what was it, like $1, $2, $3, and he goes around vendor to vendor saying, oh yeah, I got something to trade in. You guys do trade-ins? Check this out. And needless to say, he blew a lot of people's minds. Many responses were like, okay, what do you want for this? Like, what do you, what are you looking for, you know? Or in some cases, people were like, yeah, I don't know, this would be really hard to move, really hard to sell. It's cool, but holy fucking shit, and blew even more people's minds when he told them the story. You'll see that too in the footage. Like I said, it's actually, pretty goddamn entertaining. So I just noticed this shirt was very likely visible in the frame, just barely, but now here's a clearer look at it. It was on my bed. And here I thought I could have filmed this recap session in one day, but here we are on another day. I was actually wearing this Sailor Moon shirt today, but I decided to throw this shirt on. These are both shirts you saw in the Before Anime North 2023 Day 1 video. So, let's continue with this recap. So Brian and I, walk around and whatnot, just catching up, chatting, all that. I knew I had to take advantage of this because of the fact that he was only going to the con on day 1. So, yeah. There was one point where we encountered a vendor that was selling, a bunch of Japanese games and whatnot, imports. And I remember he was, he saw the Japanese GameCube games, and he was so shocked to see the cases that they came in. He was like, what the hell? And he said something along the lines of, why didn't we get these cases here? Or, I wish we got these cases here, or something like that. Because then I did bring up to him, I'm glad GameCube games did not come in those cases. I mean, because if you don't know what Japanese GameCube cases look like, they don't look like, the standard sized DVD case, that we got here. They're, smaller, clear plastic cases that had slip covers for the artwork. And I was telling him, I'm glad we did not get those cases here, because could you imagine how many fucking GameCube games, out in the wild would be missing their fucking slipcovers? It would be a goddamn disaster. So, yeah. And just to add a little bit more to that point, because I didn't say this at the con, but, like, imagine looking at somebody's GameCube collection, in like a YouTube video or just any sort of internet post, and it's like you look at their games, and it's like, 20 of their GameCube games still have the slip covers, but 30 of them don't. So what the fuck? That looks really awkward and sad. But yeah. So after all that, he left, went to go pick up his girlfriend and whatnot, and then I just wandered around the con some more. Eventually got some Harveys, which was nice, and then did a little more wandering around the con before, leaving, and well, that was Friday. So then day 2 arrives. I get to the con. I look around. I buy some stuff. And then I later attended a panel about getting into anime voice acting. Not that that is something I am particularly, pursuing at the moment, but I decided, you know what, I'll go there, check it out. The man hosting the panel was a man named John Stalker. who I did look into a little bit before the con, and from what little I did look into, the thing that he did that hits home the most for me was the fact that he voiced Toad in The Adventures of Super Mario Bros. 3 and the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. You'll see some footage from that panel later on. Then later, I went to the building where they were hosting the masquerade. I wasn't really planning on watching the masquerade, but I just wanted to see the building that they had it in, just because I had, never been in there. So I go there, I sit outside the room where the masquerade is going on, I watch it for like a couple minutes, and then I leave. Then I went to the Sheraton to play Snowboard Kids 2 on the N64, which was pretty cool. I do own the first Snowboard Kids, so I have played a little bit of that, but who knows when I'm gonna, get my hands on the second game. Then afterwards, towards the very end of day 2, I attended both a panel and a game show. The panel was the Unpopular Opinions panel, and, well, they fucked up this year. I say that because of the way they had their audio set up. It did not sound good. It was very difficult to understand what anyone was saying, and that goes for both the hosts and the people going up to the microphone to say their, unpopular opinion. And, even getting closer to the speakers that they had set up, it did not really help. It was just, very difficult and annoying to try and understand what anyone was saying. So I did not get any footage of it as a result because of that. There was also, not that this is the host's fault, but there was also many instances of people talking. Some were worse than others, some were louder. Some instances were louder than others. But, yeah, that wasn't fun. That just made it even more difficult to understand anyone. And even with all the instances of the hosts telling people to shut the fuck up, there were still some cases where people just felt like talking anyways. And it was noticeable. It was noticeable. It wasn't just, a handful of people. It was enough to make it a burden. Then I went to a game show called Strangers with Candy, which it would have helped if I had walked in there, as soon as that game show had started, but, timing with going to the Unpopular Opinions panel, yeah. Actually, before I talk about that, I also wanted to mention regarding the Unpopular Opinions panel that the issues I just mentioned were not an issue when I went in 2019, so, yeah, what the hell, guys. Anyways, back to the game show. So, yeah, I go there, just chilling, trying to figure out what this is all about. But the problem here was the host had a microphone, right? But more often than not, the contestants did not speak into the microphone. So as a result, you could not hear their responses. So yeah, needless to say, both of these things were kind of annoying, and I did not get footage of either of them. Yeah. Then when I got home, I watched Oliver and Company on Disney+, which is a movie that I've been meaning to watch for a while now, and yeah, it's a pretty damn good movie. I originally had the Disney sing-along songs Fun with Music tape when I was a lot younger, and I remember watching that and, seeing the songs from Oliver and Company. Well, the songs from Oliver and Company on that tape are both versions of Why Should I Worry and the song Good Company, which is, that one about Jennifer and Oliver. And I just remember being so, amazed by the song, Why Should I Worry? And it really got me more interested in the movie, wanting to see what it was about, because I did have a couple of these sing-along songs tapes, but more often than not, I didn't own the movies and or media that these songs were from, on VHS or DVD or whatever, so I did not get to see it at the time. Or I did not get to see them at the time. But out of all the examples that I could list, Oliver and Company stuck out to me the most. And it's interesting to note that the Fun with Music tape came out in 1989, 1 year after Oliver and Company. But Oliver and Company entirely was not released until 1996. So that's quite a gap. Not that that gap would have affected me personally, but, because I was not alive in 1996. So, yeah, but it still would have been cool to have gotten Oliver and Company at some point, and then maybe a whole bunch of years later I could, rewatch it. It was nice to finally see it, and it was made all the more special that I watched it, while the con was going on. Not at the con, but, just while it was going on. So, yeah. So then day 3 arrives. I get to the con, I do some last minute buying, and then I took 3 photos of a group of cosplayers. I bring this up because I almost never take photos of cosplayers. But the reason being I did here was because, so over in the Gatorbox community on, Twitch, YouTube, Discord, and whatnot, there's a friend of mine named Mr. Hades Flame, and he has a never-ending hate boner for S-Death from Agame ga Kill. And so I see a girl who's dressed as S-Death along with somebody else from Agame ga Kill who I don't remember the name of, and then there's a third girl who I'm assuming is also dressed as somebody from Agame ga Kill. You'll have to pardon me, my anime knowledge is, very little, considering how very little animes I've watched and whatnot. I'll show you the photos, actually. So I then, show Mr. Hades Flame the photos on Discord, and he was like, and I was like, oh, I took I took photos of these fine folks just for you. And he was like, oh, they all look horrible. What did you even say to them anyways? And I just said, I just said to the girls, hey, can I get a photo of you guys? And then he was like, did you say that it was for some loser in a mutual Discord server? And I said, no, they probably would have ran if I had said that. So, that was amusing. I mentioned this earlier in the recap, but I did attempt to meet up with Jimmy once more. I was like, hey, you here? You want to meet up? But if you can't, if you're busy, don't worry about it. And yeah, I was not able to meet up with him. But I did get in touch with him in a short phone call, and I was basically telling him, yeah, I'm just gonna chill for a bit. I'm gonna go to the Sheridan once more, play some games, and then I'm going to go home. Which, I did. I went to the Sheridan to play Power Stone 2 on the Dreamcast, which I'm really glad I did, because Power Stone 2 is a very poggers and epic game. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's really what I have to say for now. There is more that I want to say regarding things like Anime North memories and, convention videos, various, YouTube videos, anime conventions in general, just all stuff like that. But I'm going to save those discussions both for the very last part of this series and for future videos, not just, you know, future Anime North videos or future convention videos, but for future discussion videos in general. This recap has gone on long enough, so I think it's time I finally show off the day one footage. So let's get to that. But again, as a result of you know, me wanting to say more but saving it for the final part of this series is going to take a little bit longer to be released because, you know, I'm waiting for the right opportunity and day to film that bit of footage. So, yeah. Anyways, let's show you the day one footage. But first, check out this art my brother did back in 2009 for a high school project. The Awesome Show.